If you're watching this video, I'm gonna assume that you are an ambitious person who is having a hard time finding the motivation to actually do the things that they need to do to be successful. And I have a lot of experience with this because I am that person. I have very lofty goals and aspirations that I would really like to see come to fruition, but you know, sometimes I'd rather just sit and watch YouTube videos. But lately I've been using a few methods to actually help me get around this, and as you can see, I'm making videos and I'm getting stuff done. So obviously something must be working. So what I figured out is what we need to do is get ourselves into a flow state. And from my understanding of what a flow state is, it is a state of being where you and a task are sitting in front of each other and there is no distractions, no thoughts, nothing but the task at hand. You honestly become a part of the task itself. You're laser focused, you're locked in, and you're almost outside of time itself, and you just work and work and work without getting tired, without feeling burnt out. You're enjoying yourself, you're feeling fulfilled. The problem is, it's not that easy to actually get into flow state if you aren't very experienced with it. We all have our cell phones, we have the internet, we have social media, we have all these things that keep us from actually being able to sit down and get into what we need to get into. So I have three methods that I personally have been using within the past month that's actually allowed me to get some things done. And the first thing that I've started using was dopamine fasting. So I'm sure you've heard of intermittent fasting, where you don't eat for 16 hours a day and then you have a time block of 8 hours in your day where you can eat. That's basically what we're gonna do with dopamine fasting. The reason why we need to do this is because your cell phone, the internet, porn, junk food, all of these very ultra stimulating dopamine producing activities are artificial. They're quick and easy ways to give yourself a sense of satisfaction without actually having to do the work that comes along with achieving something. Such as when you scroll on social media for 2 or 3 hours, you're giving yourself the sense that you've built this broad community of people that love you and respect you, when it's an artificial form of that. Also, like how increasing your rank in Call of Duty multiplayer makes you feel like you're increasing your social status, or how watching porn makes you feel like you actually have a loving relationship, when really you're just loving yourself to some pixels on a screen. While it feels like you've actually accomplished some of those things, it still leaves a void in that department of your brain that says, I worked hard and earned this. This just leaves you feeling empty and more likely to reach for those artificial forms of fulfillment again and again and again. So what I've been doing is setting specific portions of my day where I don't interact with artificial stimulation. I've started with waking up at 5 a.m. and reserving that first 2 hours of my day for strictly work. And if I'm not working, I'm just gonna have to stare at a wall and be bored, because if you give just about anybody the choice between staring at a wall or being productive and getting work done, they're gonna be like, all right, bro, I'm too bored for this. I'm gonna just go and get this thing done that I need to get done. The second method is something that I came up with while running, and I call it positive procrastination. So if you're struggling with motivation to actually get things done, that kind of tells me that you probably have a procrastination problem. I'm guessing that you put off the things that you know that you need to get done and end up just saving it for the last minute. Yeah, we've all been there. I'm the king of procrastinating. But positive procrastination is something that actually tricked me into running my first half marathon without ever having run 13.1 miles ever in my life before. I started training for this half marathon by running, 1 or 2 miles every couple of days. And then as the weeks progressed, I started to have to run 3, 4 miles, 5, 6 miles, and I had never done anything like that before. So as I would run for longer and longer, I would feel myself wanting to quit more and more. But what I ended up telling myself was, just run a little bit longer. Just go to this landmark, this checkpoint, and see how you feel. And once I got to that checkpoint, I was like, all right, actually I don't feel much worse than what I did before, so I think I can probably go a little bit longer and just see how I feel after that. And the longer that I pushed myself to get to that next checkpoint, the more I realized that I actually wasn't reaching my limits physically. It was just my brain trying to tell me to stop for whatever reason. And this reminds me of a quote from David Goggins that says, when your mind is telling you that you're done, that you're exhausted, that you possibly cannot go any further, you're only actually 40% done. If you think about how most people do anything, say if it's weightlifting, you know, a lot of people will do 3 sets of 10 and then move on to the next exercise. Or you'll do 30 minutes of work and then say, okay, I've done enough. But if we can just keep pushing ourselves a little bit past our mental limits, we'll actually start to understand that our physical limits go way beyond what our mind thinks that it can. And you can use positive procrastination for more than just running. You can use it in weightlifting, where your muscles start to ache and you keep pushing. You try and get another couple reps in. Or use it with your creative endeavors, where you sit down and you work for a bit and then your brain starts telling you, hey, I'm bored, I want to stop and go play Call of Duty. You can just say, well, give it another 10 minutes, and then you just go back in and try to work some more, and then give it another 5 minutes, and then that 5 minutes ends up turning into 1, 2, 3 hours of work that you didn't realize that you actually had in you, and you end up blowing right past what you thought you could do and find yourself working in that flow state. And then the third, final, and most effective method that I've been using personally to trick myself into getting into flow state and doing hard things is habit stacking. I've had several videos that I've recorded that I never edited and I never put out, and those could have been the ones that, you know, finally blew my channel up and made me a successful YouTuber. But when I'm at home, I get distracted and then it starts feeling tedious and I just am not having a good time doing it, so I just don't do it. But there's one thing that I love doing, and that's going to my favorite local coffee shop, getting a vanilla hot latte and sitting there and just kind of chilling. So I thought, what if I bring my computer and I have this tasty latte and I work on my editing while I sip on it? And this one thing has made a world of difference. I've taken something that I genuinely dislike doing with something that I love and I crave all the time, and now I actually find myself wanting to hurry up and get this video done so I can go to the coffee shop, get a seat, and get that latte, and maybe even get one of those sweet biscuits with the country ham, egg and cheese, and oh my god, bro. Like, you don't understand how good this place is. And I actually find myself craving to have videos to edit just so that I can go and sit at this coffee shop. So if you can try pairing something that you absolutely love and adore and crave doing with something that you don't want to do, you can trick yourself into actually craving the thing that you don't want to do. So as soon as I finish recording this video, I'm gonna take all of my equipment and head over to that coffee shop immediately, and probably get this video done a lot quicker than I would have if I just sat in my office upstairs. So yeah, those are the methods that I've been using to help push myself towards my goals. But if you want some help or some tips or some advice on how to set better goals and to actually get your priorities straight, click on this video right here, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you got any value out of it. But for now, I'm out.